Okay, so let's talk about one of the most overlooked, and let's be honest, ridiculously misused props in movie history, the humble forklift. It's that piece of equipment you see in the background that Hollywood just loves to shove into the spotlight, and almost always for all the wrong reasons. We're going to dive right into this.
It sounds like the setup for a weird joke, doesn't it? I mean, what could possibly link the super wholesome world of animated talking cars with, say, the bloody finale of an action thriller or a life-or-death fight in deep space? Well, the answer is actually way more common than you'd think.
That's right, the forklift. In the hands of Hollywood screenwriters, this everyday warehouse tool transforms. It becomes a prop for slapstick comedy, a seriously deadly weapon, and sometimes even an unlikely hero. So today, we're going to break down an analysis of some of cinema's greatest and most absurd forklift scenes to see what on earth they tell us about movie logic.
All right, first up is the forklift's most common role on screen, the agent of chaos. The formula is just so simple. You take one completely untrained operator, you add a multi-ton piece of heavy machinery, and you just let the property damage begin.
And the source material just puts it perfectly. The cinema is wrought with inappropriate uses of heavy equipment. That's not just a casual observation, it's practically a screenwriting rule. If a forklift shows up in Act 1, you can bet your bottom dollar someone who has no business driving it will be behind the wheel by Act 3. And you see this pattern everywhere. You've got kids causing a total disaster in a grocery store in Yours, Mine, and Ours. Then there's Michael Scott in The Office, basically giving a masterclass on why some people should never, ever be allowed near a forklift. The source even points out one operator who ought to be fired and another scene that's just pure recklessness. The running theme? Incompetence is hilarious, as long as you're not the one paying for all the damages.
But the misuse doesn't stop with comedy. Oh no, it builds into something way more dangerous. See, if a forklift isn't on screen to get a laugh, it's almost certainly there to be an improvised weapon. Hollywood absolutely loves turning these machines into instruments of pure mayhem.
And the creativity is just wild. A forklift literally becomes a projectile in The Incredible Hulk, which the analysis noted was the last thing I expected. Then it's an impalement device in Bad Boys for Life, which really just proves that fighting in warehouses ends badly. For the heroes in Lethal Weapon 4, it's a battering ram of what they call good improvisation. And in National Security, it's somehow an escape vehicle that works surprisingly well in a pinch. So after watching all of that on-screen carnage, the source offers this incredibly dry, perfectly understated piece of advice. You just have to love the tone here. To avoid unnecessary impaling and the like. It is the most perfect, deadpan response to Hollywood's total disregard for any and all safety protocols. But hey, it's not all destruction and, unnecessary impaling. In a few rare, really memorable scenes, the forklift isn't the problem at all, it's the solution. Every now and then, this piece of industrial equipment actually gets to be the hero. And we have two legendary but totally different examples. On one side, you've got Guido from Cars. His big moment is just pure, heartwarming fun. He uses his insane, unexpected speed to save a race when everyone just thinks he's just a little forklift. Then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you have Ellen Ripley in Aliens. Her scene is terrifying. She pilots his forklift suit and uses its raw power to fight an alien queen. Two heroes, two forklifts, two completely different vibes. But you know who gets the highest praise? It's Guido. The analysis calls his big moment not just heartwarming, but maybe even the absolute greatest forklift scene ever put on film. I mean, the way the other forklift's jaws just drop when they see his speed, it's an all-time classic.
So, we've seen forklifts as jokes, as weapons, and as heroes. We've seen them do pretty much everything except, well, the job they were actually built to do. After all this cinematic chaos, it turns out there's only one movie that really gets it right.
Just think about that for a second. With all the scenes we've just gone through, the chases, the fights, the pure mayhem, according to this source, only a single film in this entire lineup managed to portray a forklift operator with any kind of realism.
And that film is Hereafter. In this one, Matt Damon plays a character who is just a qualified professional operator using the forklift for its intended purpose. The film gets singled out because it's a respectful portrayal of an essential blue-collar worker. It completely avoids the ridiculous stunts, the weaponization. It's the one time a forklift on screen is just a forklift.
So let's recap what we've learned from the movie, shall we? If you follow Hollywood's logic, training is totally optional. Forklifts are an excellent choice for a high-speed chase. They're the perfect tool for fighting aliens or breaking through walls. And of course, always leave the keys in, just in case any children or untrained staff need to take it for a spin. It's the perfect recipe for disaster, and Hollywood serves it up time and time again.
But all joking aside, this brings us to the real takeaway here. The absolute absurdity of these movie scenes actually highlights a really serious point. In the real world, operating heavy machinery isn't a joke, and it's definitely not an action sequence. It takes skill, it takes training, and it takes a whole lot of respect for safety to avoid the exact kind of disasters that movies make look so entertaining. All that fiction actually shines a spotlight on the importance of real-world competence.
So, the next time you're watching a movie and you see a forklift roll into the frame, you gotta ask yourself, is that just a bit of background scenery? Or have you just spotted the unlikeliest hero or villain of the entire film, just waiting for its moment?